Hello, this is Tejasvi. In this video, I'm going to tell you about 10 V's of big data. So, what are 10 V's and how it is related to big data, and what exactly is the concept of V? These are the concepts I'm going to cover in this tutorial. So, while coming to the V's of the big data, each V represents a characteristic of data. For example, what is the size of the data? What is the speed of the data? So everything, every characteristic, each and every characteristic will be determined by each and every V in 10 V's of big data. So while coming to the list of V's, so so these are 10 V's of big data. That is volume, velocity, variety, variability, veracity, validity, vulnerability, volatility, visualization, and value. So these are the 10 V's. Let's go and continue with each and every V. So first is volume. So while coming to the volume, the name itself suggests that volume is nothing but the size of the data. So this volume represents the size of the big data. As we are talking about a big data sense, so here size is not in bits or not in MB or GB. Size will be in terabytes and petabytes because we are talking about volume of big data. So volume is nothing but which depicts the size of the data. This is the first V. And while coming to the second V, so second way is velocity. So velocity is nothing but the speed of the data. So how fast the data is transferred from source to destination, and it is determined by how many bits of data is transferred per unit of time, or how many unit of data is transferred in a unit of time, like bits per second or bytes per second, something like that. So velocity is nothing but the speed of data transferred from source to destination. So it can be anything. We just can see the advantages, like real world applications like internet, so data transfer. These are some of the real world examples that we see, that is velocity of big data. And while coming to the third V is variety. So the name itself suggests that variety is in nothing but of various forms. So usually while coming to the data sense, so data usually, whenever someone says about data, will get an opinion like relational data, some relational databases, tables. So these are the some of the ideas that we get whenever anybody talks about data. But here the variety is nothing but, so we can see the lot of different types of data, like video files, audio files, and sensors from the cameras, so something like that. So there are many forms of data, there are diversity of data types. So variety deals with those diversity. So this is the third way, that is different forms of data, that is but variety. So while coming to the fourth V, that is variability. So here comes the how to contrast between variety and variability. So for example, we can say that for example, here some of the example is given, like a soda shop may offer 6 different blends of soda. So for example, what is variety? So variety is nothing but different types of data. But here variability means only one type of data which is changing constantly. So there is a constant change. So variable is nothing but which will change constantly. So variability is nothing but the data, one form of data which is changing. This example is like a soda shop offers 6 different blends of soda, which is nothing but 6 different variety of data. That is variety here. But every time you drink one blend, we'll experience a different taste every day. That is only one type of data we are taking, and this is changing constantly. So this is one of the example to understand the difference between variety and variability. So variability is nothing but a data which is changing constantly. So this is about fourth V, that is variability. And while coming to the fifth V, that is veracity. So veracity is one of the most important V in big data. That is whenever we are whenever we are taking a data source and having analysis for that, we should think of whether that data source is trustworthy or not. So there can be something like we are analyzing the data for most crucial things like hospitals, like patient data, something like that, where data shouldn't go wrong. So veracity is nothing but the data, how much trustworthy that data is, the data source is, whether we can use that data source for our analysis or not. So this is all about veracity, and it's the most important because we cannot just analyze the data, just take insights from the data without actually with the wrong data source. So veracity is nothing but something to check whether it is, the data source is trustworthy or not. So this is all about veracity. And while coming to the next thing, that is validity. So so there is a separate concept of verification and validation in software engineering. So relating to that, like verification is nothing but whether my code is working or not. I am not concerned about how what customer wants. I'm only concerned whether I'm able to give the customer what I wanted to give, so without any errors. But validation is nothing but something like whether we are giving the right product or not. Like if the customer wants a refrigerator, then taking the requirements and supplying the refrigerator is nothing but the validity. But um, generating a, I mean, like making a washing machine and without any errors, perfectly working washing machine, if we are giving it to customers, that is verification, because actually we wanted to do a washing machine and we did it. But what customer want is not the washing machine. So verification is nothing but whether giving the correct uh, uh, working product or not. But validity is nothing but uh, giving the customers the product that he or she wants. So that is the difference between verification and validity. So this is the same for big data, that is whether to check whether the customer, what are the requirements of the customers, and what are the demand for enterprises, something like that. And the seventh V is vulnerability. So vulnerability is the just weakness or error in a system or a device or code, when exploited, can compromise the confidentiality. Yes, can compromise the confidentiality, availability, and integrity of the data. So vulnerability is nothing but whether if there are any chances of hacking our data, something like that. So this is the seventh V. And while coming to the eighth V, that is volatility. So volatility is nothing but the rate of change and lifetime of the data. So it's nothing but rate of change or lifetime of the data. An example of highly volatile data includes social media, where sentiments and trend topics can change quickly and often. So yeah, this is the eighth V. And while coming to the ninth V, this is the most familiar V, that is visualization. So what is basically visualization? So we have a huge amount of data where we cannot find trends between the data. We cannot analyze the data. But through visualization, we can make the data converted into a form of graphical representation, where humans can predict the trends in it. Previous From the previous data, we can predict the future data. So visualization is nothing but the representation of whole amount of data, whole set of data, in the form of a visual manner or a graphs or plot, something like that. So visualization basically makes work easy, because we can just check the graphs, and we can analyze the data rather than checking the whole data. So this is the ninth V, that is visualization. And the last and important V is the value. So here all the V's are about what is the size of the data, what are the features of the data. But this V deals with how to get insights from the data. So we should have a value of what we're doing, right? Like if we are analyzing something, so we should have the value, we should get some output. So that is nothing but the insights we are getting. So value is nothing but getting insights after all the analysis of the data, getting the value of the data, that is getting insights from the data. This is all about value. So these are the 10 V's of big data, and these represent the characteristic of the data, and how data is, I mean, like different forms of data and something like that. So hope it is helpful. And Thank you for watching this video. If you find this video useful, you like and share. Thank you.